All right, so new project. We'll just start with a new project. We'll create a new Unity project and we'll commit it. Make sure the git ignore is applied appropriately, and then see about modifying it, making changes and stuff. So for creating a new project, we start in GitLab. And I have all of your projects here, but we'll have, you'll navigate to your group. I'll create one in Joe Student. So you navigate to your group, and then there's a new project button. I'll name it Git Test.
Start the recording.
It's recording. All right, so now we've created a repo online, and the first thing we do there is select this URL here, which gives us a path to our Git. And now we can go to source tree and use clone, paste in that path from the GitLab page, and then set a destination. Typically I do something like C source whatever, but since this is a shared computer, I'll put it in this directory here. Clone. All right, so now I have a copy, essentially a copy of that repository on the local machine, but it's empty right now.
This might be off topic. Yeah, one of the already having projects that I started without making it, like let's say somebody sent me a zip of a Unity project,
Yeah.
and I install it on my computer. How would I go about like uploading that to GitLab?
Yeah, so everything, if you have a project already, all the steps up until now are going to be the same. Yeah. So we've created the repository, and then you can do Open and Explorer here. So now we're looking at the local file system. This is the directory of our repository, okay? And if we had a project already, let's go ahead and we'll take that scenario. We'll open up, I have this My Awesome project right here. This is another repository, or it could be an unzipped file of a project, or whatever it may be. This is the root directory, so it has the assets and the project settings, right? And I'm just going to copy all of the stuff that's inside this directory into that repository. I moved it, but let me copy it so I don't lose that. So now I have a copy of it in there. If I go back to source tree, I can see that it has all these files that have been added. And
I guess it didn't click in my head that like you can just make that new folder or whatever and then drop all your other
yeah,
projects in.
yeah, it's just, this is just referencing a directory on the disk. So you can do whatever you want. You could delete files from here, add files directly to here, and then commit it through source tree. And so let me show you an example. If we, so the example of us not having that git ignore file, I noticed a lot of the projects have a git ignore in them, but the git ignore was added after everything else, so the git ignore is not being applied. So if I push this in, so I'm just creating a new commit, and I'm going to push changes directly to the server right away. We'll do a stage all. Sometimes source tree is not very good sometimes about getting all the files, so you might have to select it a couple times. But so we have a whole bunch of files. There's all these library metadata files, and we're going to commit that. Okay, so now if we look at it online, we can see that all our files are up there. So I'm just going through like a Git overview tutorial. Yeah. So we see that we have this, all these files here. The library directory shouldn't be there. The csproj and sln file shouldn't be there. Those are generated automatically every time Unity loads up the project. So they're not necessary to be there, and they could conflict if you downloaded it to a Mac or some other type of machine that generated those files differently. So now we want to apply, so we say, oops, we need to apply our git ignore file.
So when you're downloading the git ignore file, you just open up that raw git ignore file, save as, delete Unity, and run it.
Yeah, let me do it per the instructions here.
I'm pretty sure I got that down.
Let me just do a search for Unity git ignore. It's the first one. So this is the file we want. We're going to look at the raw file. Do a right click and do a save as. And you have to change it away from text to document. Otherwise, any name you put here is just going to have .txt appended to the end. So we're saving it in my git test. And it's just going to be .git ignore. Okay, we're going to save that there. And if we look at our source tree, even when we do a refresh, we can see that the git ignore has been added, but no files have been removed. And that's a problem because we want to remove those files from source control. So up here in the top, we can kind of filter these lists here to show what files are being shown. Right now, it's just showing the pending files. We want it to show all files. And we're going to do a Control A down here, and we're just going to say, we're going to do all of the yellow boxes. That means that those are clean, they haven't been changed. So all of those, and we can do stop tracking.
What does that do exactly?
You'll see in just a sec. So it's going to say, are you sure you want to stop tracking all these? You say yes. And now, so we have all these files that are going to be removed, right? Even stuff we don't want to be removed, like this assets, default, Unity, all that stuff. But down here, we see this new list that's been, oops, there's some more that didn't get stopped tracking. So down here, you should, in the unstage, you should see all these purple files. These show up as new files. So what we've done is we've taken the entire repository and we said, stop tracking all of that stuff. And then it refreshed right away and said, look at all these new files. But it only looked at new files after the git ignore was applied. So now all of these files down here are the filtered out files of how we want the repository to look after the git ignore has been applied.
So, yes.
So
Git ignore is basically just code that says like all this crap that might be from other machines.
yeah, it's saying,
Stop looking at that.
yeah, it's saying I want Git to ignore these files. And if we look at the text of it, it's just like if you're familiar with regular expressions, this is like a star which matches anything, star.unityproj. Any file that matches something .unityproj will not be checked into source.
I see. So this is something that you made, or like that was...
No, this is, well, git ignore is a built-in feature of Git.
Okay.
And this pre-generated file was just one of the examples. People maintain these for various types of projects. This is one that's provided for Unity. So this is like what this has, 16 people have contributed to this file to kind of sort it out to be, these are the files that are safe to ignore, right?
So then you said, I was loading something, but then if you just toss it in later, it's not.
If you toss it in later, it won't work.
So then what, do you fix that, or how do you fix
Yeah,
that?
so,
Sorry, I missed that.
yeah, I can't undo it at the moment, but you make it show all files here.
Right, in the source tree.
That's right, and then you'll select everything that is yellow, that has a yellow icon.
Right.
that means that it's clean, unchanged. You'll select all of those and say untrack. And then, so now it provides this entire list of files it's going to be removing from source control. You can say, I want these removed from source, I don't want you to track them anymore. Even stuff that we want to be tracked. But as you can see, also it's saying you have these new files down here, and there's some of them are the same. Like this assets default Unity. So now when we stage all these, and again, so now it's removed them from the remove list. So now it's basically gone through and it said, these are all the files I want to keep. And so it just said remove all, and then you said, but don't remove the ones that I want to keep. So now the remove list has been shortened to just the files we want to remove.
So even if, let's say you're back in like your Explorer window, and you've got like some other garbage materials in there, like if I keep throwing for some reason like other.
Yeah, let me stage all this and I'll show you real quick.
Like git ignore.
And so the git ignore needs to be in that file folder before you.
It can be, but he was explaining that.
Yeah, you can fix it, but I mean, idea if you're making the clean.
Unless you want to go through like all the monkey.
Yeah, so if you had files in here you wanted to add or remove, I mean, when you add a new file here, it's going to show up as an unstaged file or something that hasn't been modified yet. And if you needed to remove stuff, you could even just go through and say, oh, I don't want to have this README anymore. You can stop tracking that file specifically. And then it will be removed from source. The next time you do a pull, it's going to be removed from your local file system on a different machine as well. It's going to remain on the file system here. It's not going to remove it from your disk, but it will remove it from being tracked. If you want to remove it from the disk, then you delete it from here.
Now, with all that stuff, like, it won't upload to the repository at all, right? Like, it's just...
Something that's been ignored?
Yeah.
Yeah. The things ignored won't be uploaded at all. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Makes more sense. Some other questions here. I'll try to think of it by the end of class.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
So when I was trying to upload this the other night, it was taking a really, really, really long time. I think that might be because the .gitignore wasn't applied correctly.
Could be. We're also getting a lot more assets into our projects now, so that would take longer.
Yeah, might take long. I haven't actually figured out how to get the gitignore applied properly. We're dropping it in the root, right? I mean, we're dropping it in like the
Yeah, you have to drop it in the root, but if you have like I've seen a lot of this where people will have the root, but they'll have everything is under some subdirectory like this.
Okay, so
The gitignore will not work in that case. Because if we look at this, awful. Let's look at it in here. We can see it's looking for something, it's looking for like a library in the root directory. It's looking for a library or a temp or a build. It's looking for all of these directories relative to itself.
right. So should it be in like the Unity project folder?
Yeah.
Okay, so it should be in the root of the Unity project folder, not like the overall like
Well,
repository.
so ideally you should just have your the root of your Unity project should be the root of your repository.
So I should take all the stuff in the Unity folder out. Like
Yep.
delete
So if you had it in a Unity folder like this, just take it out and move it up a directory,
Okay.
and then get rid of the subdirectory. And then you have everything in the root of your repository, and you can then use the git ignore just like it's meant to be.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I'm having, alright, I might have this uploaded a little bit late. It was taking so long my computer crashed and then like, it wouldn't do anything, so I'm just figuring it out.
Okay, yeah, I typically grade the projects in the evening, So if
Okay,
it's
hopefully
if
I'll
it's in by then, that's fine.
Yeah.
And you can also ignore files manually if you. Oops, I'm in a different project now.
So you don't even need the git ignore if you like.
The git ignore is just a pre-made, but if you didn't have the git ignore, you could right-click on things, and right now this is not an option, but you can say ignore. You could ignore an entire directory. So you could, and that'll automatically build up, that'll add to the git ignore file. Like if you didn't have git ignore and you went in and right-clicked and said ignore, it would create a git ignore and add that path to the things to ignore. So the git ignore file that I provided you is just an automatic way of doing all that. So you don't have to go in and remove things manually.